What's up, everybody? It's Dustin, back with another edition of Bushwhacking Tartaria. Today we are at the old Wood and Brooks Company here in Buffalo, New York. I say old because it was formerly the Wood and Brooks Company. Right now it is the Thermal Foams Inc. But I'm going to get you some pictures of on the scene, right up and close. I get to it from these tracks right here. We're going to go through some history of this place. This is kind of the angle that we're getting from this angle right here. We're going to go through some history, some articles, pretty much the only articles that I could find of this place. This used to be on here also. And get you some reference points from an old 1902 map of Buffalo and show you where we are as to where it relates or where it's at on this map. And I have some pictures for you, obviously, of on the scene, on the crime scene of rewriting our history, unfortunately. So let's get right into it. This is where I'm at. Again, I get up on the tracks and go to it, and I'll just narrate as I go, narrate and tell you what happened. There's pretty cool features around here. This little roundabout feature. Also, notice this little water. Let's get you an angle on this. This has been here as long as I can remember, and never see anybody maintenance on this or do anything to it, but this is a cool feature of this whole little complex here, and I'm going to get you some pictures right on top of it. So again, another edition of Bushwhacking Tartaria with Berserker Bear. Let's get into it. Here we go. So this is where I am. Again, I could, very close to my house where I am in Buffalo, I could pretty much hit a golf ball and it would roll here. So I'm going to take you through my process of walking along the path. Now, as you can see, maybe a little bit right here, it's mounded up. I'm not sure if you can actually notice that. Pay attention to, I'm going to get you a little closer in on here, but the name of the building is on here also. There's two buildings. This cream-colored building and that other red brick building in the complex, and it also incorporates that interesting anomalous, I guess we'll call it an anomalous water hole, because it's not connected to this area right here. This is separate. It seems to be connected to this complex of the old Wood and Brooks Company thermal foams, because the entrance to the thing is in here, though I've never seen anybody ever maintenance the place. So let's get back to the pictures for you. I just want to lay down the idea that water pool is very peculiar to me. Again, I've never seen anybody working on it. Got a little pump out of nowhere. I know Michelle Gibson has done work on these water holes. I need to watch those videos again. Cool little picture. Water pump out of nowhere. Near that water pool. Happy little pine tree. So this is right on the outside. You can actually start to begin to see, the pool's right there. It's right off the road, and where I'm at effectively is obviously right here. Okay, looking into this thing, trying to get you the best pictures possible. Oh, and by the way, this Wood and Brooks Company was a major manufacturer producer of Ivory piano keys, one of the top producers in the world. And I wanted to also shout this video out to a very special bear friend of mine and of our bear community. Obviously, Berserker Bear is my name, but Bedridden Bear is also a piano player, on top of being a big sister to all of us bears. So I just wanted to shout this one out to you, Bedridden Bear. We all love you very much, and we all say our prayers for you and your family and your beautiful family and you all the time. Big sister, we love you very much, and I hope that you enjoy this one, because it's right near my house, and I never knew that it made piano keys back at the turn of the last century. So let's get into it for you. This one's for you, Bedridden Bear. All right. So yeah, that's where I am. okay, right about there, looking into here. And I got you some close-up pictures of the containing. You know, I don't even know what this thing is called. I couldn't find really any information on it whatsoever. So I guess I'm leaning on you guys. Look at what we. It looks like we have something that was covered over like a tar substance. I got some more pictures for you up close. Look at that, as above so below, everywhere. But it's never seen it drain. There's always that level of water in it. Sometimes I want to hop the fence and see if I can test the water, or at least see how deep it is. Throw a stick in there with a rock with a see. You know, it kind of looked like it was concrete. Throw a rock in there with it tied to a rope to see how deep it is. Looked like it was concrete with like lacquer or pitch over it, or not pitch, but like a tar substance, like you cover a roof with. Now I'm on the far side looking back at it over here in the corner. Okay, I just wanted you to get a general view of the whole thing. Now I start getting up onto the actual. So I thought this was interesting. Maybe I get a closer picture of that actually. I do. There we go. Now I'm not exactly sure what's going on here. Obviously, there's other pictures that I have that you'll see that this looks like it's concrete. It's got pebbles in it, and again, this looks like it's some type of tar or even matting. I'm not sure. I have no idea what that is. I'll be looking into the comments for my supporters to help out with this, guys. What do you see here? There goes the indication where it looks like it's probably concrete. And then this, you know, it reminds me of what you'd see on a roof. Not exactly sure. I'm just trying to. There you go. What does that look like to you guys? Poured concrete or? Now remember, this thing is holding water, so I presume this tire was put on there to make it waterproof. What kind of stone is that? There's that concrete. I took this picture and I'm looking through it as I'm going through and, you know, reviewing the pics, and I'm like, what a terrible picture. And then I didn't realize that I had the chain link barbed wire in focus. Pretty cool, actually. So I wanted to get a picture like that because you can see it's kind of overlipped. It's not straight up and down from out when it comes outside and juts outside of the grass. It's kind of like lipped over on an angle, which is kind of weird. Like it's bowl shaped, you know, instead of being straight up and down. And again, I'm not familiar with what this thing is. I don't know if that's a common design feature of whatever. I mean, I can understand this could be a cooling pond because, you know what, let me show you. I'm familiar with a cooling pond, very familiar, because we live right near a major energy supplier. This is the Hutley plant, and this is a cooling pond right here. These things are, okay. Actually, this is water that comes out of here is warmer, and it's good to fish. It's good to fish for bass out back. It's well known to fish for bass out back of the Hutley plant because they like the warmer water, because the warmer water is coming from the cooling, you know, the cooling pond. It gets released into the river, and it's effectively warmer than the ambient temperature of the river, and the bass like that, so they chill there. And the river is, or the flow is going this way from up here down this way, top to bottom. So you fish from here all the way down, and you're likely going to catch some bass for sure. So that's that. I'm familiar with cooling ponds. This doesn't look like a cooling pond to me, although I could be wrong. Again, I've never seen it maintenanced or worked on. So now I'm walking towards the building, and you can see now I'm over, I lost my place. Let's see if I can find it right quick. Can't. Let's go back to the pictures. I'll reference myself in the when we get to where I would need Google Earth and show you guys where I'm at. So yeah, I'm just walking up to it now and taking pictures of the facade of that building. Now, the street that I'm on here, let's reference and use this old map right quick. Again, I think I showed you in the beginning the date of it. Allegedly, I understand that we're pulling from the internet here. I understand that the medium that we are using can be manipulated before it sees my eyes, your eyes. That has to be understood, even Google Earth. Philip and I talked about that on our call yesterday. That's definitely not lost on me, but that's what we have to work with. Aside from me using my old books, which is a great resource, as far as the playing field we're given on the internet, we have to understand that it could be all manipulated. And boy, doesn't that look like a star fort right there? Again, I'll just lay this idea down right now. Again, this is a star fort, I believe. It's a repurposed star fort, and I think when you see these key features of it, you got a point here, and you zoom in and you have industry, you have buildings. Go to the other star point right here, boom, and there's buildings. I think that was purposely made like that to cover up these old ramparts and these old bastion forts, if you will, star forts. Anyway, so where we are located on this Google Earth, let's go back, let's find where we are actually. I have completely disoriented here. 2D, north, south. There's Kenmore, there's where we are. Okay, so where we are is Kenmore Avenue. We're going to try to line this up with this map, because on this map, of course, fittingly, the place where we are, I don't want to go too fast for you, but this is the Library of Congress accessible map. I will put it in the description for y'all, so you can reference it as well. So notice where it says Kenmore right here, and it says Seabrook and Skillen. This is where we are. Now let's try and line it up a little bit. Remember the complex here with that water, that's where I am. Thermal foams. And then you have, now this is Kenmore Ave, Seabrook, Belmont, Skillen. What I want to get at and tell you guys is, obviously this portion of the map is cut off from the key or the legend or whatever this would be, the indicator. I wanted to look at these old maps and see, oh, where is this place on the map, and it's not available. So it is what it is. And this is the building that we were at right here. So for reference on this old map, it's not in view, unfortunately. None of the maps that are available on the Library of Congress that I've used before show this place, so we have to work with what we have. So there we go. I'm right about here, taking pictures of the complex, walking from that water pool over to here. So let's keep going. I have a lot of pictures, and when I get on the tracks, a little treat for you guys, and this was not expected. A couple trains came by, and again, if you're going to be doing this out in your city, like we talked about, and I promote on my research website, MeWe. If you're going to get your boots on the ground, and I go on the tracks to get to some of these places, be very careful. Be very careful. Be very careful. Okay. because actually the train that came, and you'll see I got footage of it. It's awesome. Two trains. The first train that came by was an Amtrak, and from the time when I seen the light to where it was right on top of me, like that, and it reminded me of Stand By Me. So Ray Brower, be very careful. Be very careful, because you don't want to be knocked out of your keds like Ray Brower was. So we love the motivation, and I love the feedback that I get when I hear that I inspire you guys. I think that these were plaques or something. I'm not sure. This is entirely facaded, but yeah, I appreciate the feedback that you guys tell me. I inspire you to go out and do your thing. Just be very, very careful, because wait till you see this footage coming up soon. So yeah, of course, there's no dates for when these buildings were made or pictures. Just it shows the company and what they were doing, and we're going to get into that after the pictures, real quickly. Just a brief research, a cursory search into the literature that we find on, again, the medium that everybody can use. You know, Google. That's what I use. And these old articles, there's not any article on this about in Wikipedia or Social Galactic that I looked at. So again, we have to work with what we can work with. I wanted to try to show you guys how it's mounted up right here a little bit. You know, just a feature. See that? Cool pic. I wanted to get this to show, or to ask what you guys think about this. Has anybody seen this before? Is this familiar? This type of covering to a building. Is it covering? It looks like it to me. It looks like it's a facade. It looks like it may have been the brick building that it's attached to before. Like this one in the background, you know, with all the windows and everything. I just don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me. It's been like that my entire life. Seemingly, and you know, it's like that also in these pictures. Let's see if there's any of them. No, there's not anyone in that. I think it's in this one. Yeah, see? It looked like that, actually. There you go, windows. Okay. So actually it was facaded. Okay, anyway. We'll get to that. Yeah, because I don't think I seen... What I'm saying is, I don't think I see the sideways, you know, these things in that old picture, but we'll get to that. Keep that in mind. Ho ho ho. Just remember to keep that in mind. That might appear, and I might have a little treat about that later. Got a cool story about that, so stay tuned. Very, very cool. You see where that is too? That's up here. Okay, that's where that is. Right up there. Keep that in mind. One of the coolest features in the city of Buffalo, and I'm going to show you why. Happy little tree. Another happy tree. A lot of cool trees on my route actually for this. And see how they covered up all these windows? They covered them up originally with glass block and then over them with that aluminum sheeting. Remember? So now, for reference, I'm kind of right about here, coming into that, walking into that roundabout, and I never really noticed the bird's eye view shape of that roundabout. It's really cool. And I wonder if it went over here too. So this is where I am, right in the driveway, pretty much, of the complex here. Now again, this is the Wood and Brooks Company, the old Wood and Brooks Company. Now it's Thermal Foams in Buffalo, and it was when it was the Wood and Brooks Company, and we're gonna go over the history of it again in these articles. a quick glance after these pictures and these videos that I show you of it was the largest manufacturer of ivory, elephant tusks, ivory piano keys in the world. And again, looks old world to me. Looks like it had the build out up top. Just wanted to show you close up of these. And this is obviously probably, well, not probably, definitely newer brick in the foreground here. (1911). Keep that in mind. Looked like that was copper. We got the buttresses holding up the wall. I presume because it's a brick wall. Another interesting feature here is an old foundation, or is that the subfloor, or again the foundation. That's one of my favorite trees along the way. Beautiful. When I get on the tracks too, I get a nice picture of the backside of it, the other side of it. Right now I'm standing right on that little island right here, looking back towards it. And I think they got a picture of it like that, yeah, in here on this website. I'll put all these websites in the description for you also. So I put on my YouTube, I put a community post, and some real keen observer noticed that it looks like there's extra stars. Looks like there's extra stars in this flag, and it does look like that actually. I didn't notice that before I put it up, and I'm not sure if that means anything or because there's a, what is that, a first aid sign flag there? I'm not sure, but again, I'll post these in the description so you guys could look at it also and help out with what you think. So yeah, there I am on this picture. I'm standing right here for this picture. And I'm kind of walking my way down to the tracks. Again, there goes 1911. You see how there was former openings here and it's patched up. Looks like I got a video here for you. Now this stuff's everywhere. So turning around from this area, you'll see, and this could be another building that I do. There's a school that has that big chimney, and that's what I was looking at right here. Roosevelt Elementary School in Buffalo. And it's got a chimney on it that obviously had to have been retrofitted. As you can see in the video, it's got something to make it smaller because they don't, it's the chimney is too big to use for what it's being currently used for. You know, I'm not sure what it was used for originally. You can only speculate, but yeah, the chimneys are all over the place in Buffalo on the ground. Kind of scouting out how I'm going to get up there. There you go. So I walk down over there, and this is going to be the end of this video. Pan back to the primary target, and here I am on the other side. That's where I was on the far side of that. Now trying to see what side's better for me to get up there at. This one was a little bit steep and it was kind of overgrown. I was thinking about walking up that concrete angle, but then I thought better about it, and I looked over at the other side. It looked like that was actually trampled down enough. Actually, like there was like a trail, so I went over that side. But it's cool underneath these things because I posit at one point in time, You can see how the land's all terraformed, but I still posit the idea that all the old railways could have been canals. Do I show myself going up in this one? Yeah. See, I'm saying that side's not, the side that I'm on's not good. The other side I gotta go to. So then you just gotta do it, right? Pull the trigger and go. I figured I'd record my ascent up there. Yeah, so I think that these railways may have been canals at one point in time. It seems that everything was all canaled out back in the day, in the old world. Could it be? It's just my opinion. Train tracks have to be flat too, for the most part. There you go. Got up there. Mom, I'm playing on the tracks. I actually called my father when I was there after the train went by to tell him what happened. There you go. Boom. Now that's right there. Let's get back to show you where we are. Follow the tracks. Follow the tracks. Thermofoams. There we go. So I climbed up right here, guys, and got on the tracks right there, and that's where I'm looking. There's my angle. Boom. There you go. And again, when I say it wasn't planned, when these trains came by, it certainly wasn't planned. So if any of you are watching this who are train enthusiasts, on top of being piano enthusiasts, or Ivory enthusiasts, or urban exploration enthusiasts, you got some gravy coming up. Oh, who's that champion? Some cool pictures of on top of the bridge, looking back down to where I came from. Very cool. Getting up on top of these things. I got half a mind to get like an ATV, or the snow's coming soon here in Buffalo, so people do roll these things with snowmobiles and ATVs and stuff, and motor like mopeds and stuff like that. So there goes that light, and I'm like, is there really a train coming? So then I keep on just taking pictures. Right now I am right up there, right up on top in this little area. You'll notice I get close to these little. I get right on top of the foundation. This is some old buildings, it looks like, and that's the area that I'm in. Just so you know, for reference. Little chair, chilling. Obviously a modern building here. I'm not sure exactly what that is. As a matter of fact, it probably shows it on Google Earth, but oh well. There go those foundations of. They look modern, but foundations or footprints of old buildings nonetheless. On the scene, on the crime scene. Okay, here we go. Now I'll turn it up for you. See if you guys can hear this. Unbelievable. I didn't realize that it would come so fast. From when you see that was the Amtrak. When you see first lights and when that thing's on top of you, it's quick. You got to be very careful. Let's watch that again right quick. That my heart was beating. You could feel it. You could feel it. Boom, 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 boom. You know, you could feel it for sure. That was very exhilarating. 100%. And I was not expecting that. That was a nice treat. A real nice treat. So after that, I was amped up. You know, Berserker. It was like Berserker goes Super Saiyan. It's really cool. So I was trying to walk my way down and see if I can get into the back end of this place, because I would just walk up into it and take pictures, and if any work, because they were open, you know, I would have walked. When they're closed, the gates are closed in the front. It's barbed wire. You know, here goes some old rails here. Um, so I was walking along the back end, right along this area, pretty much. You know, you can see these poles. That's where I was, trying to see if I could walk down into here, because I was trying to get at this building right here. To be honest with you, it's got some. I've been in here before, and it looks like it's kind of. It might have a little bit of mud flood action, like it's sunk a little bit, like it's got more underneath. And it's a really light building, so I don't know if it would sink, or I'm not sure what's up with that. I wanted to get on top of that and see that, but this is where I am effectively. So I'm walking along this little stretch right here, trying to see if I can find a way in, shoot a gap for the for those football players, or even maybe even wrestlers. Um, yeah, these are those poles right here. I don't know if you could. There you go, right there. Boom. Some graffiti on there. What does that say? Oh, now it's hilarious. I had to get a picture of that. Little hoodlums, little kids playing on the tracks. Look at the size of those bolts, though. That's what gets my attention. Cool picture. But yeah, that's why I put my foot there, just to give you guys an idea of the size of those things. Big, heavy industry. So that's right past that pole. I mean, I can't walk through that unless I had my machete, and I wasn't equipped for it. I had my stuff with me. I bring a mallet, a chisel, a brush, a flashlight, obviously, and some, you know, defense weapons. But because you never know. But I couldn't get through. So yeah, that's what I'm. To be honest with you, though, you never do know, and I do carry a defensive weapon with me for sure, strictly for defensive purposes. Notice these huge cables too. I noticed those later on, and I took some pictures of them. They're absolutely massive. They're thick. So I couldn't get through, and I think I'm going to show you right here. This is a nice video, or a rather long video. And then there was a lot of action on the tracks today, and I didn't know if that was like a maintenance crew coming, or whatever it was. So I was just doing my thing, walking down, and now keep in mind the Amtrak had already passed by me, and I'm still kind of amped up from that, right? And I'm walking along trying to shoot a gap in there if I see one. And I'm on the back side of that now. You can see that the Christmas tree shaped thing up there. A good sign of the Wood and Brooks Company still there. Really thick brush. I really couldn't get through. And there's something that I noticed also where I couldn't get through no matter what. Oh, there you go. See it? Again, keep that in mind. It's a reoccurring theme, I guess you'd say for the show here. And it's quite fitting for this time of year. All run down. You know, that's still a business, but I'm not sure they use this building part of it. The Thermal Foams company. Now keep in mind this is a railroad track, and they most definitely were using it when it was in Ivory. That's what it says in one of the articles, because the reason why the person purchased this area was because there was a lot of railroads in Buffalo. Breathing a little bit heavy there. Sorry about that. Always keep an eye on the tracks when you're on them. See? Got another little treat for you. A fast mover and a slow mover. Amazing. So just walking along trying to shoot a gap here. Like that picture a lot, actually. It's just real cool when you're up there too, and there's nobody around. And I had already seen pictures and did some research on this thing before I went out there, and there go those cables. Look how big they are. I presume 5G cables, but look at you got the arches here, and metal flashing up top, so it looks like it was obviously retrofitted. Possibly the build out on top of here was knocked off more. I've addressed that before. There go those cables. They're massive. Maybe you guys can help me out with that. I would assume 5G cables, but who knows? Look at how big they are. Maybe even bigger. They're big. Here we go. Is this the video? Shards of red brick all over the place on the ground for sure. Here we go. You hear that low rumble? So I knew this was coming, but I wanted to get a shot because I seen it was approaching. I wanted to get a shot of it coming while I was approaching, while I was doing the video. This is the coolest thing ever. Again, I did not expect this, so I hope you train enthusiasts like this. I'm not sure what kind of cart that's coming up, or the lead stage. (5239) CSX. I know train enthusiasts love seeing the lead car and trying to find out what it is. You can feel it. You can feel it reverberating. And I have heard stories of kids playing on the tracks. Actually, at Town Boys and Girls Club that I grew up at, there was one kid that lost his legs from playing on the tracks. Actually, was in a wheelchair our entire life growing up, and it was from playing train dodge. Definitely Stand By Me style, and he didn't win that one, but he's lucky that he's got away with his life. Yeah, so you can feel that. I'm not sure if it was too loud for you guys. I'm sorry if it was, but just an idea of how, not overwhelming, but just that sense of power, and weight that a machine like that has. Especially when you weren't expecting it. I mean, I was just so pumped when that, I get energized right now. I get so pumped because that was so exciting for just getting up there and not having any idea that number one, an Amtrak was going to be going by. The Amtrak was probably, if I were to guess, maybe going 45, 50 miles an hour, maybe more. Whew, it was right on top of me. So again, yeah, so look at this. I wanted you guys to see the difference. Now where I am here is Oh boy, like I think we're looking, yeah, this portion right here. Now look at the difference here. This is this has the arch. Now I don't. Looks like it's patched. This is square. It's got the little sill here. I don't know. Obviously, completely retrofitted. It can probably completely recycled red brick because it's laying everywhere. But this little patch right here looks old world. So sometimes I can, I just have to say I don't really know what I'm looking at, other than the fact that it looks really cool and really old world. Red brick, obviously, old with the new, steampunk with the new, of course. Excuse me. Yep, old with the new, steampunk style type deal. Old though, it's new cinder block, but it's still old, and I love looking at. Now this is, I think that's the building that I wanted to try to get at. And yeah, okay, now I'm looking at it. That's it right there. When I said earlier I wanted to try to get in here, and I'll show you why I can't, if you guys haven't guessed already. But I'm trying to get at this bad boy right here. So walking along, trying to shoot the gap, and the train had come to a stop behind me, and I heard a bunch of clanking and everything. They were detaching carts and staging it for whatever they were doing. Look how long it is too, just as far as you can see. Stuff sticking out of the ground, concrete base or foundation of something. There goes that building. Now you can see this is kind of older, I think, than this stuff, or at least it's different brick. I'm not sure what I'm looking at. It looks like the top was retrofitted. Okay, now I'm wondering, can I get in there and see? I wanted to show you guys how thick this was, so I did a video, or I wanted a video. This is a feature that I noticed. I don't know if you can see this when I'm looking at here, but okay, maybe you can see it here. All of these bushes in and around here are pricker bushes. Now I understand that you say that, to be a deterrent for kids and everything. But I noticed that on the outside of the tower video that I did too. My first, actually, it was the Bushwhacking Tartaria trailer videos where I got to that old tower in Tiff Farm, and there was pricker bushes. Now that's in the middle of a railway also, but there were pricker bushes like it was planted all the way around the whole thing. I think I explained that too in the video. Like it's a tactic used to try to cover up this stuff so people won't go there. On top of the fact that I understand that it's a train track, but they also, I think, plant thorn bushes all around these old world sites for obvious reasons to keep people out, in my opinion. So yeah, I'm showing you how thick it is, and yeah, if you noticed while I'm rambling on, there's a barbed wire fence in between where I am and the complex, so I couldn't get in there. Couldn't shoot the gap. So then it starts rolling. It kicks. I hear it kick in and start. I'm like, whoa, what's going on here? So it was staging. It stopped. It started detaching some carts and then kept going. It was really cool, really cool. On top of seeing the Amtrak. When I say steampunk-esque, it's like this industry, the metal industry up next to the old red brick. That's in a picture also too on one of these. There you go, like this thing right here, I think it is. Although obviously it's a little newer, but a lot of graffiti on these old trains is pretty cool actually. I know it's graffiti and it's defacing, but actually it's a little bit better than just a blank, box, to be honest with you. Started moving pretty at a pretty good clip again. Reminds me of, I'm not sure if anybody's familiar with the movie Midnight Run with Robert De Niro, and he's got to get the Duke. He's a bounty hunter. I'd highly recommend. It's a comedy. It's actually it's a great comedy to watch. A couples movie. It's hilarious. It's one of the funniest Robert De Niro movies I've ever seen. It blows. Oh, the Ben Stiller one out of the water. I know a thing or two about a thing or two. What is that? Where he's his Ben Stiller's wife's father is a CIA guy played by De Niro. I forget the name of the movie. My word. Meet the Fockers, maybe. Is that it? Way funnier than that. It's called Midnight Run, and De Niro. There goes that tree. Happy little tree. If anybody knows when I say happy little tree who that is, leave a comment. I'll look for it. Nice happy little tree. Legend. Here you go. Look at that, as far as you can see down, pretty much. Was that? That's interesting. One last shot before I hightail down out of that up. Yeah, see, so there wasn't one on that track before, obviously, and it's moving, right? So they were staging stuff, and you got to be wary of it whenever you're going up there. So there goes my descent. Up in and then back out. It's where I came from. Boom. Crushed it. So then I got some pictures on my way back out, because this whole area right in throughout here as you walk down is very cool. And these houses that are over here in this area where I am now. Okay, so I just climbed back down. Now what I'm going to do is show you a little bit of gravy of this area. You know, I understand that it's all graded down to get underneath the tracks, but if nothing else, it'll just serve to prove that the landscape is definitely terraformed. And you know, I say that railroads were possibly like railroads. This might have been a canal. And there's an interesting feature right here. If you guys can see that already, little old concrete staircase. I wonder if you can. Yeah, here you go. You can see it on Google Earth also, right there. It's covered over. So this must have been taken in the middle of the summer. This picture, because right now all the rubbish is peeled back. Coming for winter. But yeah, look at that. I've always noticed this my entire life. I've driven by this place probably a million times, But now I actually, first time I ever got up next to it and on top of it and walked up it. Because maybe there obviously it's modern, it's concrete. Wanted to show you that. Slabs. Now is this all one piece at once? I believe it was, and it's poured concrete. To me, looks like. Just an interesting feature on a hill next to a underpass for a railroad. Poured concrete, definitely. But look at that though. That's like a clean break right there. That's interesting. Anybody got any idea on that? I don't see the pebbles in there though. On this side, I see them here. Is that normal? I'm not sure. I'm definitely not a mason, or I don't lay concrete. So cool old industry there. Nice colors. I love the colors of the leaves. Now I'm up on top of that hill, and I'm right. I climbed up it. Looking back towards where I was. I'm not sure if you can get an idea of how fairly steep. I wanted you to get an idea. Maybe you can see it there too, of how I'm probably up off of that sidewalk, probably 12 feet. On the top landing here. That was the tracks I was just on. Not for me. Yeah, it's hard to see. You know, it looks like it could be 4 feet right here, but that's like 12 feet down. Yeah, maybe it's better there. Now, that's what I wanted to show you about that Christmas tree. So this is telling me this is kind of towards the end of the picture segment of the video. We're doing good on time. That's great. A lot of pictures for you I had. I hope you liked them. Hope you liked the walkabout and the roundabout. And so my entire life, this time of year around Thanksgiving and Christmas, they light that up. And maybe one day I'll find out who does it and who's the owner, but I remember ever since I was a kid, and it's for me it's a symbol of hope, a symbol of Christmas obviously, but it's always on in Christmas. And lo and behold, it's from this company on that building that was Ivory keys and keyboard maker, Wood & Brooks. So that rounds out the picture portion of my bushwhacking Tartaria. Look at that. You can see it from pretty far away, and it's a Christmas tree lit up. It's beautiful. Very, very cool. There you go. That's the bushwhacking Tartaria on the scene of the crime, the reshaping of our history. And that's where I was. This area, this little neck of the woods of Buffalo. And this building was the Wood & Brooks Company. Now it's Thermofoams. Okay, and let's go into a little bit of the history of this place. So Wood & Brooks Ivory Keys and Keyboards, Ontario Street. Now when it says Ontario Street, I know I said that this was Kenmore. This is Kenmore Ave. Right here is Ontario Street. This is an extension of Ontario Street, and it keeps going from here in Riverside. Okay, see that? My cursor? That's Ontario. So when it's citing that it's on Ontario Street, that's the street that it's on. Wood & Brooks Factory, 1907 is this picture. Now remember, on the building it had 1911. Charles Raymond Wood began his career in 1888 at age 20, working for a Connecticut company, Pratt Reed and Company in Ivoryton. It made ivory keys and piano actions. 4 years later, he was superintendent of the factory. In 1901, he formed the Wood & Brooks Company with financial assistance from M.S. Brooks. Keywords for you: a Connecticut entrepreneur. He moved to Tonawanda to open a plant to manufacture ivory keys and keyboards on Ontario Street. The Niagara Frontier provided him with easy access to lumber, rail lines, and numerous local piano manufacturers in need of keyboards. So he was drawn here to take advantage of the railway system, obviously, of course. And this is an old snippet from mbsi.org, as you can see, advertisement in Music Trade Review 1903. The Wood & Brooks Co., the newest and best equipped factory for the manufacture of piano ivory and piano keyboards. Charles R. Wood purchased 2 piano action plants In an aggressive early expansion. Severn's Action, Cambridge, Massachusetts, and Kurtz Action Co., Rockford, Illinois. He quickly acquired, in 1910, he quickly acquired the reputation for excellence in management skills and for paying the highest wages in the area. Okay. Now, it's very interesting to me that this is one of the, side note, I'm not reading here, that this is one of the uh, largest manufacturers of real ivory keys for pianos in the world, and there's not even a Wikipedia article about this. It shows to me maybe they're just trying to hide the fact that they don't have pictures of these buildings being built, only when they were what they were used for at the time. There's no buildings, there's no pictures of these buildings being made or put up or erected. Okay, the highest wages in the area. In 1913, his factory made around 100,000 piano keys annually from ivory elephant tusks, as well as 100,000 piano actions. Now there goes that elephant that we see that used to be on top of this place, which I think is super cool. I'm not sure when they took that down. Oh, looks like there's a guy up there too. And of course we have ladders. Of course we have ladders. Shout out to UAP there. Okay. So we're here. In 1911, the company opened a new building adjacent to its original factory. Now that must be the 1911 building that has that facade on it. In buff color above. Okay, there you go. That's what it's referring to. Wood designed the factory floor for maximum efficiency and fewest lost motions. I don't understand that, because the footprint of these things are almost like sky rises. That doesn't make sense to me. What was all that space used for in there? And where were all the windows there that had to be covered up? Because it was like that in these old pictures too. Well, no, these windows are open. So yeah, why are they? That's what I wanted to say. Why are the windows open in these pictures and they had to close them? Now, it's confusing. So let's keep going. He also designed most of the machinery used in the factory, built in his company machine shop. The Tonawanda plant focused on manufacturing piano keys and keyboards, while the other two facilities produced piano actions. I'm not necessarily sure what piano actions are. Oh, okay. The levers that are inside. Got it. The factory on Ontario Street employed around 200 workers. In a 1939 article, the company claimed that its 150,000 pounds of ivory tusks, representing about 1,000 dead elephants, came largely from elephant graveyards in Africa. The rest came from sport hunters and Africans who killed elephants for their tusks. Each tusk weighed on an average of 50 pounds apiece, and brought prices ranging from $3 per pound to $10. The average pair of tusks was worth $300. A Buffalonian recalls seeing railroad flat cars parked on a siding behind the building loaded with elephant tusks, arranged like crown roast beef, tied in the middle, waiting to be offloaded. That must have been an interesting sight to see. When the tusks were unloaded, they were stored in a thick-walled fireproof vault set apart from the factory buildings. Before being processed by skilled craftsmen, the tusks were soaked in water to prevent cracking or chipping. Very interesting. Working on an elephant tusk at Wood and Brooks Company, 1939. Yeah, because there's only a few articles that I was able to find for these, and actually Muddy may help me out with one of them. I believe it was this one, to be honest with you. This is another article that we'll check out. This guy's pretty good. BuffaloStories.com. Steve Chacon at BuffaloStories.com. He does a lot of good old school articles about old buildings in Buffalo. I'll put that in the link description. I thought this was a good one just because it has a big picture of the elephant that was on top of this building. So let's get into reading the rest of this article. It's not that long, guys. Snippets. In spite of the emphasis on ivory in the company's logo, most of the work at the Wood and Brooks involved wood. From its earliest days in Tonawanda, the factory had been constructing and expanding its lumber sheds. By 1952, the company at its two locations, Tonawanda and Rockford, Illinois, used between 4 million and 5 million board feet of lumber, mostly basswood and maple, to manufacture keys and actions. The maple was used in the Rockford plant to make the actions, and the basswood was used for the keys themselves. Employment in the early 1950s was 300 people in Tonawanda and 400 in Rockford, Illinois. Its annual output was 100,000 keyboards in 1952. That's crazy. And think about all that as being elephant tusks, too. What a shame. I mean, beautiful animals, and think of the black market that supplied. No wonder maybe why they don't keep this out there or put this information out there, because it's kind of shameful, because you would think that would support a black market industry, because people want pianos in their house with keys made of real ivory, In 1952, with 90% of the key production in plastic, Wood & Brooks annually used 25,000 15-foot square sheets of plastic of key coverings. The lumber was kiln dried, sawed to a specific length, and glued to keyboard widths. After planning and marking, the plastic or ivory key veneer was applied and polished, sanded and cleaned. The board was then sawed into individual keys. The company imported 25,000 pounds of ivory annually, some of it used in organ keyboards. At that time, the black keys were made at Norton Laboratories in Lockport from Durez Plastics. Durez as in D-U-R-E-Z. Keyboards and actions were shipped directly to piano manufacturers separately. Steinway, Wurlitzer, Everett were among the name brands that purchased from Wood & Brooks Company. That's interesting. So they were not just supplying for the common or for the local piano manufacturers, as it said in Buffalo, but they were also supplying, probably I presume, wholesale to those big companies. So it was a major industry, and I'm just curious as to why there aren't that many articles about this place. It seems very like it'd be iconic for Buffalo. Why is Buffalo's always called like we're the back door of, but you think the front door of New York City, but I'd like to look at this as the front door, with Niagara Falls. So say what you will about that. In 1954, Wood & Brooks was one of the only two keyboard manufacturers nationwide. The company, one of the largest ivory importers in the United States, imported around 10,000 pounds of ivory used for very expensive pianos. There you go. Like I said, people want their pianos, so it's effectively supporting the black market of how to procure, how to get out there and actually procure these things, and it's probably poaching these beautiful animals, unfortunately. I hate to put a negative connotation on this, but it's just deducing from the research, what's going on here, really. The company had been operating by 3 generations of the Wood family. Son Alton Wood was responsible for much of the success in the growing business in 1954, with grandson Charles H. Wood in charge. The company spent $1 million in modernization of both plants, installing automation for many tasks. This is the iconic elephant, the tower of the 1911 building, the cream-colored building. This one right here. So I presume this was probably right here. Actually, yeah, I think you could see it. This doesn't show a good picture of it, though. There's not really a good. Let's see if it's on here. There's not a date in this picture. I'm trying to find out where that elephant would have been. I think it would have been either on, let's see. I think probably right here, in the middle, right here, or right here. But let's finish reading that article. We're almost done. And then in 1958, the company was sold to the Sterling Precision Corp., descendant of the Buffalo-born Sterling Engine Company. Its annual sales were $6 million. There were 200 employees in Buffalo and 400 in Rockford. The new owners planned to continue production of the piano parts and also newer operations at the factory complex, summer leisure furniture, and special packaging of finished items. Maybe that's what they turned into thermofoams. A year later, the company was sold again, sold. You know, very easy to change the history, I guess, and make up names. Just could it be? I'm just saying, postulating here. This time to Aurora Corp of Chicago at a profit to Sterling. So they made some money on selling it. Employment was unchanged at the Tonawanda factory. 10 years later, the Wood and Brooks Company was the largest manufacturer of keyboards in the United States, but had 3 floors of its factory vacant. 150 people were employed in Tonawanda and 200 in Rockford. In November of 1969, the owners announced that it would close the Rockford plant, shifting the piano action business to Juarez, Mexico. Of course, outsourcing, and consolidate all other operations in Tonawanda. The company also announced $1 million expenditure for the automated equipment. 6 months later, Aurora Corp shut down the company entirely, blaming competition from Japanese piano manufacturers. Frontier Insulation and Asbestos purchased it. Asbestos as in like it's a business, not the actual element, or that's interesting. So yeah, and it says that it blamed it from competition on the Japanese piano manufacturers, not the fact that it shifted its business to Juarez, Mexico. Okay, and I'm just making a general assumption. So that is the history there of the Wood and Brooks Piano Company, that there are only two or three articles really of on the internet. Here goes a cool picture again about that flag. And I'm not sure why. I know a lot of these pictures are messed with, and again, I cited at the beginning of the video that the medium that we're using to obtain a lot of this information, the internet itself, is wholly censored, but we have to be discerning. Okay, let's read this article real quick. It's very short. The Wood and Brooks Company was once the world's largest manufacturer of piano keys. In this unattributed photograph, there you go, taken from Kenmore Ave and Ontario Street, Wood and Brooks employees assemble for a Liberty Bonds rally. Each year, the tusks of at least 1,000 slaughtered elephants made their way to Buffalo plant to be fashioned into ivory piano keys. Ivory had been in use to cover piano keys since the early 1700s. That's interesting. But the barbaric practice, right? Elephants must be killed to extract the tusks, of course, and the black market that could have fed, of course, we understand that, fell into disfavor after the Great Depression. Construct, excuse me. Newfangled plastic, noted 1954 Buffalo Evening News story, are even replacing the elephant in one unique Buffalo industry. The transition to plastic was pretty much a price proposition, according to Charles H. Wood III, grandson of the founder and executive vice president of the Wood and Brooks Company, as we just went over. The United States banned the poaching of the ivory tusks in 1988, or the United States banned the ivory trade in 1988, with the world following suit 1 year later. African elephants poaching for ivory tusks still thrives in the black market, are listed as vulnerable by the International Union of Conservation of Nature, and the Wood and Brooks factory complex located at the Buffalo border town of Tonawanda still stands, as I just showed you. So that was a brief history of this building that's right near me, that I got you some good pictures of on the scene, on the crime scene with Berserker Bear. I hope you liked it. It was dedicated to a very good friend, Bedridden Bear. I hope that you liked that little history of a building that's right near me. Again, I could hit a golf ball and it would definitely roll to this complex without giving my bear den away too much. But yeah, that was the Wood and Brooks Company edition of my bushwhack and Tartaria escapades. And anybody's got any information on these type of features? Again, it's near a railroad track, possibly an old canal. Possibly has to do with waterworks. I'm not sure, but I'll give you another little a preview of another building that I'd like to do, which will be my next Bushwhacking Tartaria. It's a beautiful old church right on the Scajaquada Expressway, and it's got Moorish type architecture. Whatever Moorish means, I understand that we went over that with the call that I had with Philip yesterday, which was awesome. Philip Druzinin, thank you very much, sir. Our Lady of Black Rock School, the Assumption of the Blessed Church in Black Rock, Buffalo. This will be, I think, my next location for Bushwhacking Tartaria. I hope that you come with me, because I will get some on-the-scene pictures. Get a little preview for you right here. Let's see what that does. That'll be my next place that I go. It's a beautiful, beautiful building. Again, Moorish domes up top, and that'll be my next location for you guys. I hope that you can stay tuned, and I hope that you like this one. Again, the Wood & Brooks Company Ivory piano keys for you, Bedridden Bear. Okay, I will catch you on the next one. Please like, share, subscribe, and everybody take care. Catch you on the next one.